Hello everyone, a very good evening to all of you. Welcome to the Officer Adda 24/7, the special YouTube session of BRBL, in which today we are going to just define the definition terms of the module C. Okay, that is very much important. So let's start with the session. Okay, see, first of all, in module C we will study the definition terms of Consumer Protection Act 2019. Okay, so this act is basically how to protect the consumer. Okay, the first is advertisement. So what is advertisement, class? It's mean any audio or visual publicity, that is representation, endorsement, pronouncement made by the means of light, sound, smoke, gas, print, electronic media, internet, website, includes any notice, circular, label, wrapper, invoice or such other document. So class, this is the definition of the term what advertisement. So it is the duty of every shopkeeper, manufacturer to just advertise their product, their goods and services so that the consumer can take it easily. Okay, so that is called advertisement, a very simple definition. Okay, now the next one is class complainant. Who is complainant under the Consumer Protection Act? The first is a consumer, a voluntary consumer association registered, a central government and state government, a central authority can also be complainant, one and more consumer where there are numerous consumer of the same interest. In the case of death of the consumer, his legal heir and legal representative is also called complainant, and consumer being a minor, his parent and legal guardian will be there if the consumer is minor. So C class, from the definition term, question will be absolutely come. Okay, so you have to know and understand the term that is complainant. Okay, so this is the definition of the term complainant. Okay, that is important. Now, what is complaint? Because in Consumer Protection Act, the complaint is either suppose if the goods are in defective and the service that you provide. So these two are the thing that's come under the term complaint. Okay, so complaint basically unfair contract or unfair trade practices, restrictive trade practices that is adopted by any trader and service provider. The goods that is bought by him and agreed to be bought suffer from one and more defect. Same thing apply for the services that is suffer from any deficiency. A trader or service provider, as case may be, has charged for the goods and for the service mentioned in the complaint. Okay, a price excess of the price that is fixed by the time being in force, displayed on the goods, any package, or displayed on the price list or agreed between the party. So class, this is the definition of complaint. If these complaint will come into picture, we can easily put the case to the commission. That is important. Okay class, so this is the definition of the term complaint. Now see, the goods which is hazardous to life and safety when used being offered for the sale to the public, that is contravention of the standard relating to the safety of goods, where trader knows that the goods so offered are unsafe for the public. The services which are hazardous and likely to be hazardous to life and safety of public, and a claim for product liability action lies against the product manufacturer, product seller, product service provider. So these are the things that's come under the definition of the term complaint. If I talk about that, which of the following is, ma'am, important for the examination point of view? Complaint definition is important and complaint definition is also important, and consumer is the important. Okay, the consumer definition is class, that is very much important. Okay, now let's start with the definition term. Who is consumer? So consumer is any person who buys any good for consideration which has been paid promise and partially paid, partially promised. Is that okay? And hires avail any services for consideration which has been paid or promised or partially paid, partially promised. So basically consumer is a person that is who purchase the goods and avail the services. Okay, and does not include a person who avails such services for any commercial purpose. Okay, does not include a person who avails such services for any commercial purpose. So this is the definition of the term consumer. That is important. That can become in your exam also. Consumer dispute, the complaint between the consumer and manufacturer or shopkeeper. What are consumer rights? Consumer rights include right to be protected against marketing of goods, product, service which are hazardous to life in this. Right to be informed. So you can see here, right to be protected, right to be informed about the quality, quantity, potency, purity of the goods, right to be assured, right to be heard, right to seek redressal, and right to consumer awareness. So these are the 6 rights which is available to the consumer class. Okay, so the definition of consumer right is also important. Okay, then defect. So what is defect class? Defect means any fault, imperfection, shortcoming in the quality, quantity, potency, purity, standard which is required to be maintained by the law timing in force. And what is e-commerce? Buying and selling of the goods and services including digital products over digital or electronic network. That is called e-commerce. But that is not so much important. So guys, whatever the terms which is important, I'm just highlighting those words. Okay, now see class, the next one, goods. Goods means any movable property or includes the food also. Okay, misleading advertisement. Suppose if any shopkeeper, any manufacturer is showing the misleading advertisement. Misleading advertisement means falsely describe such product or services, give false guarantee, okay, convey an express or implied representation, deliberately conceal the important information. Deliberately means that is, you know, we can say fraudly conceal important information. So that is a misleading advertisement. Person, any individual, firm, Hindu undivided family, cooperative society, an association of person, any corporation, any artificial judicial person. So these are the things that included in the definition of the term person. That's it. Restrictive trade practices, that is important. Restrictive, as the name suggests, trade practice which tends to bring about manipulation of the price. So whenever this question comes, you have tick mark on the manipulation of the price. That is called restrictive trade practices. Okay, services. Suppose if the services is not good, you can just file the complaint. So services means any description which is made available to the potential user, includes but not limited to the provision of facilities and connection. What is spurious goods? That is falsely claimed to be the genuine. So we can say the fake goods, the goods that are not in the right condition, but the shopkeeper is representing it's a very good one. Okay, that is. So guys, we have finished the Consumer Protection Act. That is important, and the terms which are important, I also just highlighted it, okay, so that you can easily understand that particular term. Okay, so you have to learn at least those definition terms which I'm highlighting. That is important. Okay, now the next one. Person, this exactly. Okay class, the next one is Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016. Insolvency is basically if a person is not able to pay the money, and bankruptcy when the court declare that the person is insolvent. Bench, the bench of adjudicating authority. charge interest or lien that is created on the property of assets of any person. Not important. Corporate person means any company. Corporate debtor, corporate person who owe a debt to any person. Out of these four words, nothing is important. Okay, these four words, nothing is important. Creditor, any person to whom a debt is owed and includes a financial creditor, operational creditor, secured creditor, unsecured creditor, and the degree holder. So guys, these are the things that includes in creditor. So creditor, that is important word. What is debt? Debt, it's a liability or obligation in respect of a claim which is due from any person, includes financial debt, operational debt. That's it. Default, that is non-payment of the debt. That is called default. Non-payment of the debt, that is called default. Okay. Financial institution, because in the from the financial institution also we just take the money. It includes scheduled bank, financial institution, public finance institution, okay, and other institution, because these are the things from which we just take the money. Insolvency professional, this is one of the pillar. If I say you this and this, that is important because these two are the pillars of IBC. Who is insolvency professional? A person enrolled under the section 206, okay, with an insolvency professional agency as its member and restricted with the board as an insolvency professional. What is information utility? A person who is registered with the board, that is called information utility. Person include individual, Hindu undivided family, company, trust, partnership, LLP, and any other entity established under the statute. That is important. That is called person class. Okay. Next, what is property? It's include money, goods, actionable claim, land, every description of property that is situated in and outside India. Secure creditor, in the favor to whom security interest is created. Security interest is the right, title, interest, or claim to the property created in the favor of and provided for the secured creditor. Okay, so this is your security interest. Then class, what is transfer? Sale, purchase, exchange, mortgage, pledge, gift, loan, any other form of transfer of rights, title, possession, or lien, that is called transfer. Transfer of property, transfer of any property includes transfer to any interest. That is important. Okay, that's it class. Now we are going to start the Bankers Book Evidence Act class. Now class, the Bankers Book Evidence Act. Okay, so in the Bankers Book Evidence Act, what evidence the bank have to present before the court? That is important. Okay, so in the Bankers Book Evidence Act, this is bank have to produce the evidence. Okay, bank have to produce the evidence in front of the court. Okay, now the first is company, not important. Okay, company that is defined in Company Act 1956, including foreign company also. Corporation, any body corporate established by any law for the time being in force in India, including Reserve Bank of India, State Bank of India, any subsidiary bank. What is bank and banker? Any company, corporation carrying on the business of banking. Okay, any partnership or individual whose books of the provision of the act extended, or any post office, saving bank, and the money order office. So this is called bank and banker, not important. Quote, the person and the person before whom the legal proceeding is held. What is legal proceeding? Any proceeding or inquiry in which evidence is or may be given. Exactly. And arbitration also, suppose whatever the matter that is going in arbitration, it's called legal proceeding. Any investigation, inquiry, that is legal proceeding. Okay, so this is the definition of legal proceeding. What is judge? That is important because that is also given in your exam. And what is certified copy? That is important. So judge of High Court Division. Okay, certified copy, because see class, the bank do not have to give the original copy, the bank have to give only the certified copy. So certified copy means copy of any entry in the books of bank together with the certificate written at the foot of such copy, that is true copy of such entry, and such entry is contained in one of the ordinary book of the bank was made in the usual and ordinary course of business. That is the certified copy. Okay, so right now class, whatever the question that I'm giving you, it means that definition is important. Okay, now guys, module C, it's a Legal Service Authority Act 1987. So this act is basically all about your Lok Adalat. Okay, the important is nothing. Yeah, the code definition is important. So case means any suit or any proceeding before court. Central authority, National Legal Service Authority. National Legal Service Authority, central. What is court? It's a civil, criminal, revenue court. Includes any tribunal, any other authority, that is called court. District authority, District Legal Service Authority. High Court Legal Service Committee, High Court Legal Service Committee, that is constituted under the Act. And what is legal service? Because we have to provide the legal service. Legal service means rendering any services in the conduct of any case and other legal proceeding before any court or any authority tribunal, giving advice on the legal matter. That's it. Is that okay? Now, what is Lok Adalat? Lok Adalat, that is organized. What is Lok Adalat? Lok Adalat, which is organized under the Chapter 6. Not important. Regulation, not scheme, state authority, nothing is important. Okay. Now, Module C. Always remember, if we talk about the in the legal service authority, that is a Lok Adalat. So Lok Adalat is basically, that is the helper of the court. Okay, that is the helper of the court. Next class, Integrated Banking Ombudsman 2021. That is important. What is appellant authority? So the appellant authority is basically executive director in charge of the Department of Reserve Bank of India. That is very much important. Award is the passed by ombudsman. So award is also very much important. This is important and this is important. Okay, next. What is bank? What is bank, class? Bank means banking company. Corresponding new bank. RRB Bank, State Bank of India, as defined in the Banking Regulation Act 1949. Okay, cooperative bank also. So these are the things that include in the term bank. Complaint, it's a representation in writing through other modes alleging deficiency in services on the part of regulated entity seeking relief under the scheme. That is called complaint. Okay, that is called what? Complaint, class. Okay. What is NBFC? NBFC as defined in Section 45I Clause F of Reserve Bank of India Act 1934 and registered with the Reserve Bank to the extent not excluded under the scheme but does not include core investment company, an infrastructure debt fund, non-banking financial company, okay, infrastructure financial company, a company in resolution and winding up liquidation. So that is the definition. No need to mug up the definition, only just try to understand. Okay, that is NBFC. Regulated entity. So in this, regulated entity is important. So it includes NBFC, system participant and the bank, because ombudsman is basically where complaint of bank, NBFC and system participant will come in regulated entity. Deficiency in services means shortcoming or an inadequacy in the financial service which the regulated entity is required to provide statutory or otherwise, which may or may not result in the financial loss and damage to the customer. That is deficiency in services. Settlement basically through facilitation, conciliation and mediation. System participant, a person other than Reserve Bank and system provider. System provided means include a person who operate an authorized payment system. Reserve Bank, that is given in Reserve Bank of India. So that is not so much important. Okay, so you can just learn the word settlement. Okay, now class, the Limitation Act 1963. Limitation Act 1963, applicant means applicant bole to petitioner, any person from and through whom an applicant derive his right to apply. Any person whose estate, that is a property, is represented by the applicant. Application include petition. Bill of exchange includes hundi and check. Bond includes any instrument whereby a person oblige himself to pay money to the another on condition that obligation shall be void. That is a bond. Okay, that is the bond. Period of limitation prescribed for any suit appeal application. So in this act, nothing is important. Okay, I just learned this word, period of limitation. What is promissory note? We have done in NI Act. Okay, suit does not include appeal and application. That word is class important. Okay. Now Module C, Recovery of Debt and Bankruptcy Act 1993, in which we have to study basically about the DRT and DRAT. So what is appellant tribunal? Appellant tribunal is DRAT, but that is not given. What is bank? It's a banking company, corresponding new bank, State Bank of India, subsidiary bank, RRB bank. That is important. This is bank. Chairperson of appellant tribunal. What is debt? Debt means any liability which is claimed as due from any person by the bank or financial institution or consortium of bank and financial institution. That is called debt. Okay. Financial institution, that is basically public financial institution within the meaning of section 4A of Company Act. Okay. Presiding officer, the head of DRT. Recovery officer, appointed by central government, that is a helper of presiding officer. RRB bank, that's established under the RRB Bank Act. Okay. So under this one, this is important. This bank definition is important. Okay. And then who is chairman? Okay. Then presiding officer, recovery officer, that is important. Tribunal, that is DRT. Okay. Now class, it's a MSME Act. So MSME Act is basically, first of all, the advisory committee. Advisory committee, appointed day. Okay. So advisory committee which is made by the central government, that is called advisory committee. Appointed day. What is appointed day? Means the day following immediately after the expiry of period of 15 days from the day of acceptance. So no need to learn this appointed day. So this is basically if the buyer and the seller is there, okay, and if they both have an agreement between each other, so they will fix a appointed day in which the buyer have to give the money. So this is called appointed day. Is that okay? So the day following immediately after the expiry of period of 15 days from the day of acceptance or from the day of deemed acceptance any goods and services. Okay. Board, National Board for Micro, Small, Medium Enterprise. Buyer, whoever buy any goods and receive any services. Enterprise means industrial undertaking or business concern or any other establishment, that is called enterprise. Goods, every kind of movable property other than actionable claim. Okay. National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. This notification published in the official gazette. Supplier, micro small enterprise which has filed memorandum with the authority, that is called the supplier. Not important. So these definitions are not important. Okay. Now SURFACI Act, there are certain term that is important. If I say that ma'am which act is important, in which the more definition term will become, so I will say guys that is your SURFACI Act. So SURFACI Act is very much important. So each word is compulsory. Okay, so now let's start with the term SURFACI. Okay, so in SURFACI, first of all, what is appellant tribunal? It's a DRAT, that is appellant tribunal. Okay, asset reconstruction means acquisition by any ARC company Okay, because that term is important. This is an appellate tribunal. First of all, asset reconstruction company means a company registered with Reserve Bank for the purpose of carrying on business of asset reconstruction and securitization. And what is this? It is means acquisition by any company of any right and interest of any bank, financial institution in any financial assistant for the purpose of realization of such financial assistance. That is called asset reconstruction. Okay. Next, what is bank? Banking company, corresponding new bank, State Bank of India, subsidiary bank, multi-state cooperative bank, etc. Banking company, not important. Borrower, it means any person who and pool investment who have has been granted the financial assistance by any bank or FI. That is called borrower. Central registry, no need to understand, no need to understand. Okay. So the term borrower is important. Depth, DRT. What is depth? So depth is basically the unpaid portion of purchase price of any tangible assets, any right, title, interest on any intangible asset. Intangible, that is patent, trademark, etc. Okay, that is called depth. What is FI? Because from FI we just take this one. So financial institution is public financial institution, any institution specified by central government. International Financial Corporation, debenture trustee registered with board, ARC company or any other institution or NBFC. That is financial institution. That is financial institution. What is hypothecation? That is very much important. Hypothecation means, suppose if we want to purchase a car, we are not giving the possession and ownership of the car to the bank, but we are giving the document. That is called hypothecation. So section 2 clause N, charge in and upon any movable property existing in future created by the borrower in the favor of secured creditor without delivery of possession of movable property. That is important, hypothecation. Okay. Property, immovable property, movable property, any debt, any right to receive payment of money, receivable, intangible asset, etc. What is qualified buyer? Qualified buyer means financial institution, insurance company. This is very much important. That can become in the form of question. Financial institution, insurance company, bank, state financial corporation, state industrial development corporation. Okay. Asset reconstruction company which has been granted a certificate of registration under section 3, or any assets management company making investment on the behalf of mutual fund or foreign institutional investor registered under the SEBI. So these are the qualified buyer that purchase the things from the whom? From the ARC company. Okay, so you have to remember these persons' name. 1, it's a 2, it's a 3, 4, 5, okay, then 6, then it's a 7, 8. So these are the qualified buyer. Okay, important. What is creditor? Secure creditor, it means any bank or FI, debenture trustee, asset reconstruction company, debenture trustee register, any other trustee holding the security. That is called secure creditor. What is securitization? Acquisition of financial assets by any ARC company from any originator. That is a borrower. So acquisition of financial assets, that is a property, by ARC from any borrower, whether raising of fund by such ARC company from qualified buyer by issue the security receipt. That is called securitization. So both words are important that can become in the exam. So guys, this is all for today's session, and I hope so you people understand each terms very clearly. So we have a selection pro batch. If you want to join this selection pro batch, you have to apply the coupon code Y391 for the maximum discount. Okay, so in this batch you are getting the live classes, you are getting the paid PDF, mock paper, etc. So apply the coupon code Y391 for the maximum discount. So we have this particular subject. We have a video course, we have a mock paper, we have a ebooks, we have a proper book, and we have a CIB ka Mahapack 2.0. Okay, so apply the coupon code Y391 for the maximum discount. In CIB ka Mahapack, right now we will launch the crash course and revision batch. All batches will be available in the CIB ka Mahapack. Okay, so apply the coupon code for the maximum.